held on January 10th over at Stardust. It was a couples event. Went well. It was a little chilly in the morning. You might recognize a few names in the winner circle there. I think Vanessa's name's up there. And then we've got a picture of some winners from various flights. You might want to look at the far right picture. I think you might recognize somebody there. So good. I appreciate everybody playing. It was a full field, and I'm hoping everybody had a good time. Did you guys have a good time? Upcoming events in February. These are events outside of group play, league play, all the normal day-to-day play. We've got some ladies team play, Troy Danner Club, and then we've got our Desert Hickory event, a 2-day event. This will be the 14th year in which we've hosted that. So we're excited about that. This is a topic that we go through cycles with this as far as job openings. Right now we're looking for starters, ball pickers, and custodians. I'm also getting ready to replace one of my part-time fleet mechanics. So we're looking for, these are all part-time positions, 16 to 20 hours a week. So if you know of anybody that has an interest, please send them our way or have them fill out an application on our website. Yes. Yes, that is correct. Let me, sure. It's currently we have a part-time mechanic that actually takes care of all 184 pieces of equipment, plus our range machines and our ball pickers and things like that. So we're in the process of getting 2 part-time. It's all part of the budget. And then just a reminder, I like to kind of encourage people. We're kind of going through some cycles where range baskets and balls are leaving the property. If we could hit our balls, which is great, leave the baskets, that would help us so that we have something to rent the next day and something to put them in. So appreciate everybody's help with that. All right, I think that's all I have. Yeah.
Any questions for Pat? We have nothing online, nothing from the audience. Okay, thank you, Pat. Todd Patty is next, Environmental Services, and I don't see him. He was not feeling well yesterday. However, if you want to put his slides up there, we can just probably walk through them quickly. And I know the good news is he briefed a group yesterday and we're under our water allotment. So that's the good news. But
the best I can with
sure.
this.
Thank you.
Let's go back to that one real quick. Tiff Tough Bermuda Grass update. That, of course, is number 9 at Echo Mesa Fairway. And then he's also scheduled some tour dates that he'd like to share some information with everyone. Tiff Tough, key points that he wants to mention. It's first year, it's only been in the ground 8 months, complete coverage in 6, which for those of you that had a chance to see it early on, full coverage, looked really good. This is a grass that can be overseeded. Todd chose not to overseed it for 2 reasons. One, we wanted to see what the wear patterns for cart traffic looked like at being a Bermuda-based grass. And the other one is that anytime you overseed a newly sprigged grass like this, you're going to have a terrible, terrible transition. So if anybody has challenges with number 9 now, if we would have overseeded, it would be worse in June or July because the grasses are fighting for nutrients and water. It just wouldn't have held up very well. So we're going through the toughest part of this right now, seeing what it can do. And from Todd's standpoint, it's meeting and exceeding his expectations. It's not the perfect surface just yet, but it will be. How long will it take? Give it this time next year. It'll be absolutely perfect. All right. Very good. Yeah, it'll get better, Paul. one of the things that's lacking in that grass is organic material. That's why it's matted down like it is, plus the cart traffic. All the other golf courses, all the other holes have that organic material, so that's why it looks kind of one-dimensional out there. But it'll get better in that too. And then Todd can talk to you about pre-emergent herbicides can be applied after the first year. Again, when you start doing that too early, you're going to really affect the health of the plant, and he's trying to be conservative on that. And we all know Todd does a great job in those areas. Here are the courses. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, I have a question. Will the herbicides next year take care, if that's what you're talking about, is the big clumps of green stuff from the thing? Because I've had had calls.
So all that was imported in the sprigging. So when you sprig, just like a lawn, if you have seeds and you put the lawn down, there's impurities in those, and that's what that is. And so he'll knock that down as we progress. Yes. Golf courses that have Tiff-Tuff are all these listed here. Desert Springs over at the Grand actually sprigged theirs at the same time for the most part that we did. They were on cart path only until I believe last week or the week before. So they went through all of October, November, December, January for the most part, cart path only, because they needed some help with that as well. So they chose to do it a little different. Todd wanted to make sure that we saw what the wear patterns look like, and he's really encouraged that it's holding up close to the cart path very, very well. Desert Mountain, 4 courses. They're using the Tahoma 31, which is real similar to the Tiff-Tuff. He wanted to share also that he's his aerification schedule, and he's got some field days. This is at Echo Mesa while he's doing the aerification. He's going to have some availability to look at these areas on the 23rd, 24th, and the 26th. So more information will be out on that. That's Brian Whitlark of the USGA who comes out and does reports from the agronomy side for Todd. I guess that's it.
Okay, thank you, Pat. Any questions? I think we'll be able to set some dates at our meeting next time. I'm very interested to go out there and see actually how they do it and have them explain to us what's going on. So no comments online? Anyone in the audience? Okay. All right, moving right along at 3.03. Mr. Swan, financial review. Thank you.
I talked to Todd this morning. He was under the weather and wanted everybody to know that if you had any more questions on that, he could field those at the next committee meeting on that grass. And just a reminder, we do have in the Stardust Irrigation Capital Improvement Project in this budget, we do have in there to renovate that turf with the Tiff-Tuff for a whole course. And it is an investment. It's a monetary investment, and it's also an investment in playing conditions, unfortunately, for the members. But it's a long-term solution to a problem that we have on our old courses where we have the old grass. And if you want to check out any of those other courses that have had it installed for a while, you can get a really good idea of what it looks like. I think Pebble Creek's had it for 3 years at one of their courses, and Sun City is in their 2nd year at their course. So just those are 2 close courses, and I'm not sure how long the Grand has had it, but yeah. Oh, just this year. Okay, yeah. We know what that looks like. 1 year, sure. Anyway, okay, so we're gonna get started. A quick update too on the not the capital budget, but the budget itself, the operating budget. We'll be presenting that at the next golf committee meeting. So we're going to present to Budget and Finance on Tuesday the full budget. Of course, a component of that is golf. So encourage you to watch that, and we'll be presenting the golf division budget at the next committee meeting in March. All right, so we're presenting December year-to-date numbers. So through the first 6 months of the year, we're approximately 120,000 behind budget. I will say January was a good month. We made up a big chunk of that. We're still a little bit behind, but we made a big chunk of that, 119,000 up in the month of January because of those full play. Basically, we only had a couple frost delays, which really helped. The conditions and really helped the golf. So, but overall, 119,000 on $4.5 million in the budget. Looking at the rounds, 206 rounds through the first 6 months behind budget. If we look at prior year, 42,000 favorable to prior year. Excuse me? Did you have something? Oh. All right, same thing with the rounds, 206. When we budget the rounds, we use the rounds from the first 6 months of the year. So this year, we're putting the budget together for next year. We use that historical rounds from the actual year to budget the first 6 months. That's why the budget always mirrors the prior year in rounds, because that's what we do. It's the best indicator that we have on how we're going to budget rounds for the first 6 months, and so that's what we do. So that's why you see that as we move through January and the end of the year, you'll start to see some variances between the rounds and the budget for that month compared to prior year and compared to actual. All right, so taking a look at the revenue. So we look at the revenue by card type. So we have these frequent player cards and unlimited and Twilight. So we're looking at not the rounds, the revenue, excuse me. So the unlimited card revenue is up 5% at 19,000. And you can see down the line there which cards are more popular or are more popular than they were last year or less popular than they were last year. We're down a little bit in Kachina and Coyote, and Twilight is up. But overall, 2% increase in the golf card revenue. So when we collect the golf card fee, we realize that revenue or recognize that revenue over 12 months. So we don't book it right away. We collect it, put it on deferred income, and book it over 12 months. So when we look at the greens fee by type, so these are the golf rounds that we collect the greens fees on. We've got resident, Coyote, Kachina, and just non-member, we roll that into one. Overall, we're 1%. I don't know why it's showing negative 1%. That's weird. But overall, we're 15,000 ahead of prior year. The bulk of the increases in the greens fees for our non-members, which is where we put the largest fee increase, as well as we've been able to hold the rounds. We shook a little bit last month, but we've been able to, through December, to hold the rounds with our non-member play. So with the fee increase, the revenue would increase, and it did by 26,000 so far for the year. All right, so this is just a trend report showing what the golf fees, what we anticipate and what they were last year, and what we anticipate they will be in the budget. We're right on with prior year and budget for the most part. Talked about that already at 200 or so rounds. And then here's the golf rounds, same trend. Looking at the expenses, here is where we're really, making up for that lost revenue. We've talked about the chemicals and the fertilizers, and those are slowly trickling in. Todd tells me as soon as they're available, he's going to bulk buy when he can. But those are slowly trickling in, so that landscape maintenance line item will not be as favorable as we move through the year, but it is 295,000 favorable. Talked about wages, benefits, and taxes, and that we'll continue to see favorability throughout the year, but we've filled some positions that were open recently, so that monthly deficit should go down significantly. Looking at the repairs and maintenance, pretty much right on budget. Overall, 741,000 mainly in those two line items. Of course, utilities with the rain and the weather that we've had, it's coming in very favorable as well. Compared to prior year, the deficit really is the chemicals at the end of the day. What to expect for wages and benefits and for all other expenses as we move throughout the year on these trends. Overall, $622,000 favorable in the budget. Of course, we don't anticipate carrying that throughout the year, but we'll see what happens. I mean, January was very encouraging in golf rounds, and we're looking pretty good in February so far. Knock on wood. Through the first couple of weeks of February. So we'll see how it goes, but 622 favorable and 365 favorable from prior year. That concludes the financial presentation.
Okay, thank you. Questions? No?
Just curious, it seems like this last winter has been the best winter weather we've had in ages, and yet we're down on rounds of golf. It's probably a question more for Pat, but.
November. It was the rain that we had in November and December, which is what, that's why we're behind. But the weather now and moving forward looks pretty good, right? I mean, that's what I attribute it to.
Yeah, that we were ahead all the way going into the November timeframe, and then we had that stretch of 4 or 5 days where it just wiped out some Wednesdays, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And those are, and then, and what's talking to Todd last week, we're trending down a little bit in temperatures, and Monday or Tuesday might be rain too. So, yeah, we're as good as the weather, right? When the weather's good, we're really good. So
Another quick question. When we have our maintenance guys working on the courses, do we track where they're working? I'm just kind of curious because we have, we know that our irrigation systems are requiring more and more maintenance, but do we have any statistics to show what we're spending on irrigation maintenance?
I'm sure Todd could produce that, and he's also waiting a little bit of time to, he's got these new pumps, variable speed pumps that are being put in play both at Echo Mesa and Grandview. He's wanting to get a good year under their belt to see the difference, so he's comparing prior pumps and prior systems, and you're comparing apples to apples. So I look for something down the road when he has that data that can be matched up. So yes, it is saving. And he made a comment to me that it's like 20% in electricity, but I don't want to talk for him.
Yeah. There was another question in there is, do we allocate by course golf maintenance? And we do. So we have the cost for sprinklers and repair costs and things like that by course. So we can put that together.
Yeah, I'd like to see that because I know there have been some questions that I've heard about priorities to stay on the 2-year schedule, which we all want. We're golfers, we want to see it fixed as soon as possible, but pending the master plan priorities that may come through, it'd be nice to know what it is costing us to maintain the irrigation systems that we currently have.
Yeah, there's a lot tied into that. It's not just maintaining the systems, but also the grass, the patches, the course conditions, things like that are also factored into that. But I'll also say, though, that golf generates, we have golf courses, and the golf revenue generates a significant portion of our overall revenue. So we want to make sure those conditions in those courses also are in tip-top shape as well. So that has to be considered into the mindset. It's not just a cost to maintain and do that to the courses, but also the course conditions themselves. So, most of the master plan items, in fact, They haven't come out yet, but I'm imagining that most of those items are 100% subsidized, don't generate any revenue. So that's one thing to consider.
Just another quick question, if I may. Have master planning consultants, any of those consultants sat down individually with you, Pat, or with Todd to discuss your thoughts on the course? Yeah, the master planning people. Because I know they haven't sat down with our committee, which I find quite unusual.
Yes, so the NGF has been part of their team, and I've had a chance to sit down 2 or 3 times with individuals. I know Todd has had that many, if not more, opportunities to sit down with them. So yes, they've had a chance to hear what our thoughts are, and it's been a very positive experience. So we're encouraged. Yeah.
Anything? Nothing online? Anyone in the audience? Any questions? Or yes?
Has the NGF read the USGA report that was done last year?
I know it was available to them. Don't have any interaction with or response. I wasn't in those meetings, but I'm sure Todd made that available to them. Yeah.
But you don't know for a fact.
No, Todd would be able to answer that.
You've got a couple other slides. You can go through those, or they're just in the packet for information?
There's on the
Anybody-
cap. Wait, hang on.
You want us to go through those additional slides? Just want to cover them quickly?
Sure. If there's any questions on them, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not really a financial presentation. So if there's any questions on those packets, Pat or I could field those. I mean,
Sure.
yeah. The idea, though, I mean, that's the type of report that you kind of consume and then show up here with questions if you have questions. You know, because I mean, we can spitball off of that report, but there's no presentation. So, yeah. Certainly, if the committee wants to see it, we could put it up. I didn't plan on.
Now, I want to ask you, is there anything in there that stands out from you from a financial perspective and anything that starts to worry you?
No, nothing worries me. I mean, we're always subjected to what happens in terms of the weather at our courses and golf rounds and all that. That's probably the thing we have. It is the thing we have least control over, but that's the thing that worries me the most, you know, at our courses. But, you know, most of that data is year over year for multiple years, data comparing courses, comparing cards, comparing, you know, round types, those types of things. You know, I will say that maybe we've slid a little bit in our owner member golf rounds are down a little bit. That's a little concerning. We've talked about that, and we're working on that through strategic planning, also through master planning, to figure out how we get more people moving into the community that golf, and how we get more people that live in the community that don't golf to golf. So but overall, that's probably what concerns me, but nothing that keeps me up at night.
So none of the golf courses trends are concerning to you, is that correct?
No. Other than the trends that I just talked about. Is that what you mean? The trend in the owner member golfers going down? Yeah.
Any other trends besides that?
Okay, for 4.01, is Herschel not here? Are you going to do that? Or?
Yeah, I can do it. There's no update. Todd was going to give an update on the TIF Tough when he was in here in terms of but we do have, we're supposed to be getting, I think it's February 18th, we're supposed to get our bids for the Stardust project, the actual bids, because the dollars that are in there now are an estimate. So we're supposed to get the actual bids back from Gary Brawley. We had a meeting a couple of weeks ago with Gary Brawley and all the potential vendors to discuss the project and make sure there weren't any further questions on that. But we should be getting that. I think he said February 18th is the date we'll receive those.
Yeah, everything is pretty much the same in those two presentations, so there's nothing.
No changes at this point.
So we'll call that complete and move on to 4.02. I asked for this to be on the agenda. As Cliff just said, next month we'll get the draft budget, but I just thought for purposes of discussion today, we'd have Pat give us a little update on what the current golf rates are and what we might be looking at if we're anticipating changing anything for next year.
Right.
Thank you, Pat.
Yeah, you bet. Right, this is kind of a competitive analysis or a competitive overview of what's happening in our neck of the woods. So you can see our numbers up there at the top. I broke it into public rate, member guest, our member rate, cart pricing. You're seeing that a lot of our fellow golf facilities are including carts. Some of it is because they're not set up the way we are, right, with private carts. Some are. And then I tried to put in an annual membership. That annual unlimited membership is just that. You're not paying anything in addition at the counter. We're finding that other communities such as ours have things like Kachina and Coyote cards. You pay a different rate at the counter when you play, so I put the unlimited one up. Things I want to kind of point out is member rate for us. I think it's a great value. I'm hoping everybody agrees with that too at $47. That's somebody that doesn't have an annual card of any type. You can see the other rates from Pebble Creek. Copper Canyon is Festival. That's their golf course, Copper Canyon. And then Sun City. Coyote Lakes is just down the road. And then Union Hills and then Hillcrest in our neighborhood. Now, Hillcrest, it says approximately 70. They're very aggressive with dynamic pricing. So they don't really, I went there the other day and looked on at 8 o'clock in the morning and they were listing a round of golf with cart for $96. But I'm seeing that I've seen it as low as $47 or $44. So they play the game where they go in there and if the tee sheet's not filling up, they've got the method of saying, okay, let's knock $5 or $10 off this green fee, and then they'll go an hour or two and see how it's going, and then they'll knock another $5 or $10 off, and so they play that game, and seems to work, I guess, for them. You can see the Grand and their prices, and a lot of things, or a couple things that stick out. You see the Grand at $130 for public rate, and you see Copper Canyon at $142 and Pebble Creek for $130. What really drives that is they don't have availability. You couldn't get on. You could probably call up Grand and, yeah, I don't have a spot for you. Well, I'd like to play. Yeah, wish I could get you, but I don't have a spot for you. And they're really big into shotgun starts throughout the week. They try to maximize it that way. So there's different ways of trying to get to the end result, but in all reality, those $130 and $142 green fees are something that they don't worry about too much. Their public play is probably less than 5%, and most of that's in the summer. So if they get it, and they get it big time, but they're not getting many of it. I also thought the annual unlimiteds varied quite a bit. Sun City's at $2,800, Pebble Creek's at $51, Copper Canyon you see at $21, but you're paying as you go. There really isn't. They don't have an unlimited per se. You've got to pay it at the counter every time you play. Union Hills kind of surprised me at $6,800. I thought that was a little high, but that's, and then Hillcrest, they've got a 5 and 7 day membership, but I reached out to see what that was. The person at the pro shop couldn't answer it. They referred me to the general manager, and I'm waiting to hear what that membership costs.
So what I see asterisks on there, but I don't see what they refer to. What's the asterisks on the?
The asterisks, no, it's not. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know off the top of my head. It includes, like Copper Canyon includes range balls as well. Coyote Lakes really doesn't have a driving range, so it doesn't include that. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I don't know off the top of my head. Could be tax. Yeah. David, I don't know, let me find out. Yep. So that's November through April, that's the common denominator. And I think that's just a good way to see what everybody else is doing. A lot of these folks are working off a calendar fiscal, while we're working off of starting in July, or a yearly fiscal. So their rates have already changed, starting January 1st. So a little bit different way of doing business, but I think what we have is awesome for the pricing that we have. Talking to Cliff the other day, I said every time we get close to a threshold at $78, if we're talking about raising the rates for public, we get across that $80 threshold. I think 79 always sounds better than 80. But that's perception more than anything else. But a $2 or $3 change in that, it's not going to kill us. I don't feel it will be. We're not seeing any trends, and we've been looking at that because we had an increase last year in public play as far as public rates. And I'm getting more comfortable crossing that threshold a little bit, especially after seeing information like this. So those are my thoughts on that, Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Any additional questions?
Rudy, I would just like to make sure this slide is available our next meeting when we do budget stuff.
Sure.
Please, thank you.
Is there some reason,
Date that too.
is Portobello not worth listing, or is that totally different than us?
Well, we didn't put Briarwood or Portobello in there because of the membership base. You've got to pay monthly dues there. I reached out to them. They do allow very limited public play, and it's usually on weekends. But they're around the $100 mark, but it's very, very restricted and very limited public play.
Okay, the other slide, if you can call that up, is our current rates. And that's what we'll be kind of working from when we have to look at what we might consider changing for next year, if needed, to meet the budget.
I was going to say, I think it would be beneficial at the next meeting. We've been kind of locked into our when twilight rates start. I don't, is it 1:30, 11:30? 11:30? This time of year. And I'd like to kind of have a sense of, if you move that a half hour one way or the other, what that might yield us in additional revenue. So obviously it would be putting it off longer, to see if we'd pick up more prime time rates, just to have that data available when we're looking at rates, the value of, instead of just looking at dollars, looking at other moving pieces potentially.
With that said, please remember that the twilight is structured based on daylight. So we've got to be able to get around a golf in. So by moving it later, those last few tee times we're charging them full rate, and they wouldn't be able to get 18 holes in. So they wouldn't fill because of that.
So right now, I played yesterday at 2:10 and got my rounds in.
Yes. And 210 in December or January, you probably wouldn't get those in. So and again, and you can see that we changed those, but we go all the way through April. But to your point, there can be a little play in there. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Pat. Anybody, anything else we need to discuss today about what we're gonna be doing next month? Okay, comments online? Okay, comments from the audience? Yes, sir, please. Procedure is your name and rec card number. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dave DeWitt. My rec card number is 141268. The last couple Budget and Finance Committee meetings, we went over the capital budget. And one of the things that I'm curious about and trying to understand is the need for the $100,000 spend to move the ball dispensers. Seems like a lot of money to move ball dispensers, so I'm just curious what's driving that.
I guess that's kind of an ongoing problem over the last 3 to 4 years maybe, and it was originally driven by golfers who sit on the patio after their rounds and are annoyed by the noise. And we have looked at trying to move them, and last year we discussed this pretty much at length and determined that we were again going to look at it this year after we got some cost estimates to do it. And those are the numbers that the staff has given us. So we have put them into the capital budget for next year, but they are still open for discussion by the board. So unless anyone else would like to add something to that?
I get a lot of feedback on that, and most of it's in opposition to spending $100,000 to do that. And I know I supported putting it on the capital budget. And the more I think about it, I think when they announce the next group that's up on the tee, it's more annoying and takes longer than having a bucket of balls filled. So I've kind of changed my attitude on that a little bit. So if it comes up before the board, I will be voting to take it off. But
So
it's
the
on
other-
there for now, and it's worthy of discussion because
Okay.
a lot of people would like to see them moved.
Well, the other thing that I saw in the strategic plan was creating more of a place to gather on the driving ranges. Well, if we move the ball machines to the driving ranges and then we have more people gather there, aren't we just gonna have the same problem? So that was the other question.
The good news, the electricity would already be there.
That's a good point. Yep, the electricity is a good point. I understand that.
Yes, past years, we did a movie on the range
Yeah.
at Grandview, and it was because we had that flat space and we had power there, and we were trying to utilize that. And so I think it opens up some opportunities there, but it would be an after-hours event or a time when the course isn't open for golf.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. An additional comment?
Yeah, Chris Waller, 140-558. I was just wondering, a few months back, you were talking about maybe getting into dynamic pricing. Is there any advancement on that for next year's budget?
Yes, we're still trying to look at that from a technology standpoint with our point of sale. It's something that we're interested in. We think that with the structure that we have with our pricings, we've got a little bit of room there. It would be the public pricing. We have to protect our residents' rates, which is important to us. But we're trying to get our technology caught up, and we're excited about a new upgrade and a new update on our point of sale that down the road this year, I think we'll have a better idea where we are with that.
Okay, and then, and it would really be aimed for public play.
Oh, very much so.
Okay, perfect.
Very, very much so.
All right, but there's a possibility for next year, you think, or?
Yes, let me get with Kyle.
Possible.
It's in the works. Thank you.
Just a comment for Chris. That's the first time we've heard that. So that's a good place to put that
Okay, thank you. We're to the point of anyone on the committee have comments? No? I'm looking around. No? No? Anyone in the audience, any additional comments on anything related to golf? Anything online? Wow. Okay. Our next golf meeting will be on a Thursday, March 12th, 1:30 PM in this room. With that, we will adjourn at 2:15. Thank you very much.